Welcome to the Insurance Technology Podcast. I'm here with your host, Reid Holsworth. How you doing, Reid?
You did a great job. That was really good. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. I'm sitting here freezing in Massachusetts with like inches and inches of ice. And
Yep.
I'm assuming you don't have any snow where you are.
I do not have any snow where I am. It's actually really nice here. A nice lunch. One of my friends, one of my good buddies, Jason Boggs, is here.
Oh, nice.
Yep. As you know, a lot of people know Mr. Boggs, but he's here. He's in town. So it's been fun. Been hanging out. Yeah, had a nice lunch. It's like 80 degrees today. It's wild. It's so crazy, the difference in temperature between here and like the rest of the world. Like up in Milwaukee, it's like negative 16 or something. It's like stupid. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's the ice. We went from snow to ice, and then they couldn't get the plows through because of the ice. So it's not fun right now. There's no salt to be had. So
I think this
glad
is
I work remote.
I think this is the first time that I've ever actually drank a beer on the podcast. I don't think I've ever really drank on this before, right? I don't think so.
You when you had someone over, I think you did. Maybe was it
Chip? Yeah, at my house. Maybe it was Chip. I could see that. Yeah. Anyways.
All right. So in this episode, we're going to talk. Let's see. We're about 6 weeks into the year. I feel like every time I open up a newsletter, website, publication, it's trends for 2025, right? Everybody comes out with their trends for the year.
Let me guess. AI. AI is a trend.
It is actually. So I actually was pulling, our friends over at Datos Insights, one of the analyst firms that we work with, but they had actually published the top trends of 25. And so I thought we would go through them and see if there's ones you agree with, ones that you don't. I think we even had a couple on here that we were talking about that we don't even know what they are. So, so I'm just going to get your insights.
I'm really glad I prepped for this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you always prep for these things, right? Okay. So number one, it actually has the word AI in it. But number one, insurers relaxing their concerns around Gen AI, or are they? So challenges around data privacy, algorithmic transparency, legacy system integrations. Is that a trend that we're going to see carriers getting a little bit
about
more?
it? I mean, I could see them getting more comfortable with it in ways, but relaxing, I don't know what that really means. Like, I mean, they're pretty hardcore about that stuff, generally speaking. You know, I mean, the privacy, the contracts and stuff that we have with our customers. This is on the carrier side, you said?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends on the player, and they're kind of different all across. But you know, especially the big ones, the tier ones. No way, I don't see that. I don't see them like relaxing on that kind of stuff. But again, I can see them getting comfortable with it. Like, okay, we can try these models. We can do some stuff. Like I'm not fearing it like they were. Like they're not fearing it like they were. They're getting comfortable. But I don't know about relaxing, on that. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think it's more about trying, like before it was because of my concerns around data privacy, I am not even going to look at AI. Whereas now it's like, we need to do it, so we need to figure out how to do it.
I could see that. Yeah, that I could totally see that. But they're just following the trend, though, in a way. But I mean, there's so much value to it that it's gonna. Yeah, so like there really is. People are like, okay, this thing is real. It's not going away. Like, well, how can we use it? Blah 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 blah. Let's be smart about it. But a lot of that hype is kind of over, I feel like. I feel like you're going to ask me more things, and they're all going to have to do with AI because that's like what everyone's talking about. But there's been a lot of hype around it. I think now things are starting to happen, and people are seeing like tools in market. You know what's crazy too? I swear, everywhere I go, like there's signs and billboards in Chicago and San Francisco and like all these places, like Barracuda AI, brah, like like whatever the hell it is. There are so many of these like out there now. I'm like, what, like revolutionize your business with .ai, .com AI, whatever. Like, what is happening?
Well, it's almost. I feel AI now. It's like you have to have it in your name somewhere. Whereas maybe I'll go a decade or two ago, where you had to have cloud in your name, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
But now it's just assumed that things are going to be hosted in the cloud. So I think that there's always going to be AI, but I think potentially the AI naming will go away eventually.
Yeah.
Just a part of the technology.
I'm gonna start a company that is a cloud-based AI platform that is SaaS that uses blockchain. I feel like somebody would give me money.
I was just going to say blockchain, and then
I ruined it with
cryptocurrency.
We're not talking about that now. That's not a thing. Remember when that was a thing? Like what?
Yeah, they were saying like certificates of insurance were going to go away, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I know. Yeah, totally. That was a whole thing, right? I never saw that. That one I never jumped on. I never saw the value. It was a solution looking for a problem in our industry. I could see it in some ways, like certain things I could see, but it just, nah, it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing.
Agreed. All right. We got one down. Number 2, I'm going to do this in 2 pieces. So around modernization of systems. So for small insurers, small carriers, they are looking to modernize their core systems. This is going to be a trend for this year. Okay. Whereas larger carriers are going to be pursuing underwriting and finance transformation.
I could see that. I would ask though, like, and I don't really know this maybe as well as I should, but I feel like the smaller carrier solutions, like tier 5, tier 4s, the solutions are out there. I'm not even going to name names because I don't want to like whatever, but I feel like they're fairly modern solutions, generally speaking. You know what I mean? Like, like these are not systems that were built, 50 years ago.
Right.
And I mean, not even like some of them, not even 10 years ago. Now there is some legacy stuff in there. But there's some good modern solutions that I know. I know they're people really well. We work with them all the time at Ivans, and they're pretty good. I mean, I don't know. So it's kind of funny when people are like, they're going to transform and modernize, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, from what to what? Maybe they don't have something. They're going to something. I don't know. Is that just another like analyst thing? Like transformation, this kind of thing. I don't know.
Maybe it's because you have less to move. So like a core system for you to say like, I'm moving to the cloud if you're a smaller carrier.
Yeah.
That's an easier lift than it is if you're a large national who has, multiple.
I don't know about that. I mean, I would say the complexity would come in on just the number of lines of business you have. And so like, it's not even necessarily, because I could even argue, like, even if it's 100 policyholders, it depends on the line of business and what you're moving and what it is, as opposed to, thousands. But if you have all these different lines of business, that's a lift. But if you're just a single line, monoline, or couple line, situation, I could see that being smaller. And yeah, most of the big nationals are more than just that. And I think that's the timeline there, is moving everything. Even on the personal line side, you think about like boat, motorcycle, RV, flood, home, auto, like the bigs, like a Progressive, commercial auto, like all that, it's a lot of stuff, Travelers, Hartford, all these guys, Liberty, they're monsters because there's just so many different lines and different units and things. And a lot of it too, it's come in through acquisition over so many years too. And that's the other problem with the big guys is like
create a Frankenstein.
Yeah, exactly. And they have all these legacy systems that they're still using from the acquired companies. It's like, I'm not saying this is a thing anymore, but it's like Ace and Chubb and like that whole situation, but anyways, yeah. So I see that, but the small ones, I don't know. It's kind of a funny thing. Like, I'm wondering why they're saying that. It's like, that's like where they're going to go dig for gold or something. Like, I don't know. I feel like most the systems that are available for the tier 5s are fairly modern in their own way. But maybe it's just a big transformation for them, like you said, to go from some on-prem thing to in the cloud. But I don't know. Or
maybe it's just adoption, right? Like maybe there's just like, there's a lot of them that have not gone to a course, like a stronger core system, like you were saying, and maybe we'll just see more people going on to more modern. All right, number 3. I feel like AI is back.
All right.
All right. It's all about efficiency, driving internal efficiencies in underwriting and claims through next generation AI.
Oh, actually, we didn't get to the second part of that last one, which was about
the underwriting and the large. Yes.
The underwriting. Yeah. So underwriting, using tools to make underwriting much more efficient at the carrier level, large carrier level. This is, hey, are they going to use AI is this a trend for underwriting? And I 1000% agree with that. I think that there is a huge use case, probably the largest use case that I've seen around AI is what you can do with underwriting and how you can help underwriting. Whether it's on the submission and taking those documents and consuming them, structuring them, taking all that data, bringing that into your own system in that way. Whether it's being really smart about the risk that has come to you. Is this really a restaurant? Do they really not have a deep fryer? Are they open till 2 or are they open till 10 p.m. like they said here? Does this thing turn into a nightclub at night? What am I looking at here? So I think AI around all of that is very, very useful. So yeah, I think that is something that we're going to see the industry change on, leveraging artificial intelligence, 100%.
So one of the stats they have here is, so next generation efficiency plays with AI can lead to a 70% reduction in routing time.
There you go.
When you're using automated triage systems.
Damn, think about that. 70%. That's wild.
Yeah.
That changes things for that carrier, leveraging that solution.
Well, and they're saying claims too. So like not the underwriting part, like you were saying, but then for claims, like getting it to the right person or making sure that
that one blew my mind. I didn't know a lot of that. Like I've worked with a bunch of people that are in kind of that claims world. It's amazing that like the claim systems and whatnot don't actually know because they're not interconnected with the policy admin systems in a lot of cases to where they truly know, is this covered? Do they have this? Like what's actually happening here? It's like you just kind of like, for me as an outsider coming into this world, I would have thought that it's like one system and it's just like, I'm in this one system and like, here's the client, here's all this stuff around them, but it's not. It's really difficult for them to get that real enforced data in real time, a lot of them. And so anyway, it's like, it's interesting. Like I could totally see that. That's a claim, but on the underwriting side, getting to the stuff that you want much more efficiently and then getting rid of the stuff that you don't want as quickly as possible is good for everybody. It's good for the agent. It's good for the insured. It's good for, the carrier. Those are win-win-win-win everywhere. And so, yeah.
Well, and straight through processing is great, but then there are ones that need to be actually looked at by an underwriter. So the whole point of like having it dispersed to the right person versus going through like people throwing it to the wrong person and having to, who's going to catch it.
Mm-hmm.
The claims piece is interesting too, because there's so many, the whole push to automate things, but then I think of our friend Joe Stevenson around the fraud stuff, and it's like if you don't have people looking at it, how much stuff is just sliding under the radar too? So,
right.
All right, next one's AI as well. So number 4, intelligent document processing becomes a game changer. So AI-powered document processing.
Oh, that is again, that goes back to my use case in underwriting in that way. 1,000%. I really believe that it's such a good use case for that tool. If I'm looking at it, new construction, if you will, like I would 100% implement all that stuff at the front end. Why would you not?
They have some stats here.
Oh, good.
1,000+ pages can be processed per minute with 90% accuracy and 80% reduction in processing time.
That's just
crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy in a good way.
Yes.
is this, is this like the bots are gonna take over and everybody's gonna lose their jobs and all this? No, actually.
It's Leandro's Skynet shirt.
Oh yeah, right. Totally. I forgot about that. That was funny. But yeah, no, like, is that really? No, this is real stuff that impacts everybody in the flow in the business. It's not eliminating humans. It's just making them become so much more efficient to get to the stuff that they need to get to, which is awesome. It's really good. Just speeds up the flow for them. Yeah, that is something that's not going to go away. I mean, OCR and all that's been around forever. They've had humans that are doing that and then taking it and looking at it. Look how many companies, I'm not going to name names, are out there that like human beings are processing documents in this industry. Thousands and thousands of people every day are reading documents. I mean, there's real power in that. So I think that's great. 100%.
All right. Specialty and E&S lines drive innovation.
That's interesting. I could see that. Super hot. I mean, that's where everybody's going. I could see it. Yeah, they could see it. They're starting to drive like product innovation on the insurance product side. I could totally see that.
Yeah, it's saying 50% of insurers have implemented at least some automation for specialty lines underwriting and claims.
Ah, interesting.
So, what I wonder is that because most specialty in E&S is going through an intermediary, right? Like an MGA or a wholesaler, if it'll push those organizations to look at like more automation across even the traditional business, like that they're almost, if they're modernizing just in like these little pockets and seeing success. Because right now I feel like that's one of those places where like carrier to agency is a very fairly automated workflow. But when you start adding in the intermediaries is where we start seeing like more bespoke or manual connections.
Yeah. It's interesting though. I mean, you have a lot of brokers that are starting their own, in that way. Big brokers that are doing a lot of that stuff. But you're right. The connectivity is a little bit lagging behind like the pure like carrier side of the market. But I don't know. We've been wrenching on that stuff with those guys for a lot of years. I mean, it's not like new. I mean, we've been selling to them for a lot of years at Ivans. That stuff's, I mean, it's moving, but it is behind. I can see that for sure. But I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that there is such a growth in the E&S market that agencies are looking for, where it was maybe a smaller percentage of their overall book that was going to E&S. It didn't bother them as much that they had some more manual or things that that were outside of their common workflows with their carriers. And now when we're talking about, it growing, I think we said like 30% or something like that. It's more of a pain in the ass if you have large volumes of it going into the E&S market.
Yeah.
So if they're only modernizing 50% at this point, hopefully we'll see that grow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next one. Rapid product innovation becomes an imperative with emerging risks, economic pressures, and slow regulatory approval. It's pushing P&C insurers toward rapid product innovation.
Yeah, I mean, if the regulators and everybody's going to allow them to, like, I mean, yeah, sure. Who the hell wouldn't want that, right? Like, come on. But I mean, there is so much red tape around that. Like, I go back to what Casey Kenton said like a long time ago. She's like, if I was to fix anything, that's what I would fix.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never thought about it till that moment. And she's 1,000% right. Like, that's a mess. It's a real mess. And so to really do that, like, of course, I think everybody would, I mean, think about like, I don't know, like, I hate to use names around this stuff, but when people talk about this kind of stuff, they talk about like Progressive and how Progressive moves and how smart they are around this stuff. They're moving and doing stuff before anybody. And it's not easy. It is not easy to do that in that way. And so I just think there's just a gigantic amount of red tape around it. So I don't know.
So it's that rapid piece. But so even if you had the best AI powered technology hosted in the cloud at your organization, had the smartest people in your product team to be able to rapidly, augment or change or create net new products, you're going to get bottlenecked in terms of getting through all the regulatory.
All the bullshit. Yeah, 100%. So if you could speed up that process, then I think you could make that true. But it's hard. I think every carrier out there would jump all over that if they could do that.
Right.
But it's
by the time you get something approved, then the thing that you're trying to fix or alleviate or have a new product for could be over.
And it's just, it's all the systems too. Again, like through all the transformation stuff and whatnot, I don't know. It's not crazy anymore, but there's a lot. There's a lot to it, just to build and launch a new product, I don't know. We should get somebody on the podcast that's like to talk about that, actually.
Creating a product from scratch. An insurance product.
Mm-hmm. And like what all that, what goes into all of that and how quick it could be and like what are the inefficiencies of it where we could go and like as an industry kind of solve some of this, right?
I love it.
We should totally bring somebody on to talk about that. Because I bet like collectively there's stuff that we could do together as an industry to fix some of this. I don't know. But some may argue they don't want it fixed. They don't want to, I don't know.
Well, if you're listening out there and you have experience creating a insurance product, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the one that I feel like it's over my head. When even the word quantum is over my head. Quantum threats creep up on insurers. So a fault-tolerant quantum system will revolutionize fields from drug discovery to climate modeling and financial analysis. So I looked up the fault-tolerant piece. It basically is creating computing that can continue to work and process accurately, even if there is inaccurate data or something that has.
I don't understand what it's saying. These are like too many big words for me. I'm like,
well, and then so you go to the definition, and then the definition is above my head too. It is basically saying that it's computing that can continue to perform calculations accurately, even when errors have occurred. This is possible through the use of logical quantum bits. And I am just so out of my element with this stuff. It's the only one that I'm like, I don't know how this works.
So, okay. So what's the trend? What is it saying again?
They're basically saying because of this like new fault-tolerant quantum systems that they're going to be used for things like drug discovery and climate modeling and financial analysis. So those types of things, it says, is going to creep up on carriers. So I would think it's if that stuff actually helps
carriers, because
with the modeling.
Wouldn't carriers want to be doing this?
I was going to say, I would think it would
start to model these things to like understand. And then again, it goes to like that rapid product deployment and whatnot around all of it, I was talking to a friend of mine. We had lunch, and he's involved in a bunch of startups and shit. And he's working with some startup. I forget where they are, Chicago or something. But they're doing like these sensors that are like detecting early warning for like earthquakes. It's like, I forgot what he told me. It was like something like, and I'm probably totally wrong. Whoever hears this, like, you're an idiot. It's supposed to be, but like whatever. I think it was like something like, it was like 7 days prior to something happening. Right.
Oh,
so it's like early, like detect, and it's like real, like they have like real data. This shit's like badass. Like it's like a real thing. But I'd be interested, like, how could you react in our industry with that? Like, sorry, no more binding coverage. Like, or like, what do you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is where the red tape and all that comes in. Like, what could you I don't know, you could like tell people to like screw their pictures on the wall or something. Like, hey, just so you know, earthquake's coming. Like stuff's gonna fall off. Like I mean, it sounds
like you said, or you could be
like,
a complete asshole and be like, I know it's coming, canceling all.
Right? Yeah, like sorry. Yeah, I don't know, but like it's kind of funny. Like there's all this tech out there, and there's all these things that are able to like detect this stuff that may occur. Right now, I think it helps with modeling the policy and the rates and everything like over a term and whatnot. Like what can we expect and what do we know and like blah 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 like that. But I think being able to react in real time, I think is kind of hard based on this. You know, so yeah, I don't know. I just don't know that world enough. But that seems like the logical answer. It's like cool, but how are you going to put that to use? You know, you know what I'm saying? Like
maybe that's why I mean, like it's creeping. It's like all this stuff is coming. How are you going to use it?
Right, exactly. And like, but I could see it. Like, of course, if I'm in a carrier, I would want to know this type of stuff and be able to understand these things. I can't put two and two together on how you're going to actually put it to work for you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you can't. I just don't know. That's where my head goes on that stuff.
Okay. Number 8. Property disruption continues amid shifting risk landscapes and coverage models. So traditional risk models are failing as historically safe areas are experiencing devastating losses.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's gnarly. Like, what was it, like Carolinas and all that shit? Like what the heck? You know, like what? Like who knew? Like ever. That's tough.
Well, and then it goes back into like we were talking about E&S before. So it's saying that there was 41% growth in E&S premiums in 2023.
Yeah.
To over 27 billion. Well, and I guess that also ties back into the product innovation too, because if models aren't working anymore, then you probably have to go not back to the drawing board, so to speak, but
yeah. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about something like 100 carriers have gone out of business in the last year, mostly small guys. But it's because like California carriers and like smaller ones and whatnot. But it's because of the reinsurance cost is so high now. Like the reinsurers are just getting hammered, right? And to your point, it's like, you know, when you think about spreading risk across the world or across the country, it's like, oh, these houses in Carolina, you know, making good money on that stuff. Like, you know, but it's just like, boom, you know, and it's climate change stuff. I don't care what your political affiliation or whatever. I really believe that shit's real, 100%. I mean, you see it, like you can tell. Like the winters are different in Wisconsin than they have been. You know, the summers here in Key West are different. They just are, like, you know, and so I don't know. That's what I see. So, I mean, that shit's really happening. Wild stuff is happening all over the place. It's going to be tough, you know, and how do you model that? Like, oh, wait, we see a big storm is coming. Shit's about to hit the fan. Okay. What are you going to do? Cancel. You can't cancel all the policies. Like, it's not a thing, you know, so you're already screwed at that point, you know? I don't know. That's tough. I mean, insurance is getting hammered. People think that I talk to so many people that don't know this industry all the time. Like, oh, fucking insurance companies, everybody just making all this money, you know. And it's like, we don't make a lot of money in this business, carrier level. There's not a lot of profit there, you know. And these kinds of things really sting, you know. And so it's a tight business overall. Sure, there's a lot of money flowing around, but at the end of the day, you know, at the bottom line, it's not a ton, you know, for what it is. And those kind of things, like, damn, I mean, look, California, like those, I mean, that's just nuts, you know, nuts. But I mean, I'll tell you, like, I don't know, I grew up in Southern California. Everybody knows this. Half my town burned down when I was a kid. Literally, I saw the fire coming over the hill and burn the whole schools down, like literally. And like, so like that stuff happens out there. But with all the precautions, all the things and blah, 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 you think that like this wouldn't, but it's just.
Well, and you had said too, when that happened, right? Then the mudslides happened, and that's exactly what's happening now, right? So
100%. Yeah. First comes the fires, then because it's always the Santa Ana winds in California. Then it comes rainy season, and then what is that? Mudslides, and then now you get mudslides that fly down those big old hills into the houses below that didn't burn, because at the bottom fire goes up, and so water comes down. It's like it's bad, not good. But it's like, how do you predict that to this point, and then how do you stay profitable as a carrier when this stuff happens? Like, and then these little guys, it's like, how do you literally buy reinsurance? Like, they can't afford it. Like, it's just, we just can't.
Well, and I feel like, Florida's kind of been in that for a while, right? Even with companies that we've seen that have worked with Ivans, and then they're just gone, right? Agencies will come to us and say, we're not seeing them anymore. Well, it's not that we're not delivering the download. It's that they're gone. Okay. 2 more. Number 9. Oh, one of our other, we should have had bingo cards, insurance topics. SaaS.
Oh, all right.
All right. SaaS fees continue their seemingly inexorable rise.
Yeah. Just like consulting fees. Just like analyst fees.
It's 4 times. So it's saying SaaS inflation is running at 4 times the consumer price index, creating new challenges for CIOs that are managing spending targets.
Yeah, no, I get it. I don't know, hard for me to say. It's like what we can do.
We're one of those SaaS fees.
We're kind of one of those line items. I don't know what to say about this one. That sucks, I guess. I don't know.
But why? I guess why would it increase by that? Like,
I don't think it's like the fees, the costs themselves are going up like bleh, just because for nothing. I think that companies are leveraging much more SaaS-based products than they ever have before. I don't know, but that's why I was joking about, just like analyst fees, whoever wrote this shit, it's like their fees are, come on.
However, you would think though, too, that maybe it's balancing out, like, because you're spending more on tech, maybe you're saving money somewhere else, because we keep saying all this automation is helping you be more efficient.
It's like saying, like, I don't know, that people are the cost of gasoline and the amount of gasoline consumption is insane when cars became a thing. It's like, duh, because I don't want to ride a horse anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably totally reading this wrong. They're probably like, oh, this is like blah, 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 like, blah, 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 like, all this stuff. But like, I don't know. I would assume that's not just like, oh yeah, hey, we're going to charge you 40% more for the same thing that we're giving you today. It's, hey, we got this other product that does badass shit. You want to use this thing? Yes. Well, your cost to me just went up, and it's SaaS. Why is it SaaS? Because it's how you do this stuff. How else would you price it in that way? Like you go like the old technology way, like way back in the day, like I'll sell you a piece of software and then like you like have to maintain it, but then I'll like charge you to like maintenance it and like, do all this stuff. By the way, we still have crap like that here at Ivans. Like, no joke. Like there are still stuff from like way in the bellows of our basement that people still use and pay us for in that way. But it's not how it's done anymore, right. So the costs are going up, and that sucks. People are leveraging technology more and more. What's really expensive? Really, 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 really expensive. I'm going to use it. AI is fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Like that shit is not cheap. No way, Jose. It's not. That's another one too. People talk a big game about all that stuff. And it's like, oh, I can do this and I can do that and blah, 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 blah. You're going to pay $25 a ping for that every time you hit that button. 25 bones, 25 bones, 25 bones, 20. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot, so there's a lot of costs around that stuff, and people aren't really, they're talking about all the solutions and the things, but they're not talking about the cost around it.
Well, that's, that could, the whole point of it increasing. Maybe that's what it is too, is that you're having to pass along costs. Like if everything and almost everything that we talked about on this list is AI powered, and if AI is costing the solution provider, vendor, what have you, money to even provide this to you, then your cost is going to go up too. But you're getting more efficient, modern, all those fun words that we've been using.
Yeah. Amazon, they're the ones getting it. AWS, GCP, Azure.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's just like an add-on to a lot. I mean, it's not one of very many things that all of those companies are doing. But yeah. Okay. Last one. I'm actually going to talk about people a little bit. It's very interesting. But AI again.
I've got to no, I'm not answering another one for AI. I'm not doing it. No. Okay, fine.
All right. So AI fills in amid the search for sustainable solutions to the tech talent crisis. As experienced professionals approach retirement, AI and automation will allow routine tasks to be systematized, while experienced staff focus on complex cases requiring human judgment. I feel like we've been talking about the insurance industry retiring since I started in insurance.
Yeah,
there's a lot of it still here though.
That's since I started insurance. It's always like the average age of like the agency owner is blah 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 blah. And they're all going to be retiring. And now this new workforce is coming in. That's always been a thing, right? I don't get it though. I'm a little slow. So, is it saying that there is a demand for AI engineers, and that's a gap that we have out there? Is that what it's saying?
It's saying that while the industry searches for tech talent, we're using AI to kind of fill in the gap. So you have, as people retire, you're going to have less and less people that are going to be able to work on the more complex stuff. So if you can use AI to do more of like the entry level stuff to get that stuff done, you can use your talented people to work on the stuff that, requires a human.
Okay. That makes more sense. I got it. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Like all the redundant task stuff. It's like some of the stuff we were talking about, the streamlining of the workflow and like underwriting and stuff like that. You can start to get what was not necessarily straight through processing type stuff, kind of like, somewhat automated in ways, right? So that they can really focus on the real tricky stuff, in that. Yeah, I could totally see that. I'll say it just through our lens. I mean, we're hiring a lot of AI engineers right now, especially after the Plank acquisition, just all the shit we're doing. And we're doing a ton of like legit AI stuff at Ivans. And so we're hiring a lot of AI engineers. There's a bunch out there. The really, really good ones are hard to find. But I will say this is just my experience, but you don't need the super high powered ones. You don't need a lot of those, because a lot of this is just like heavy lifting stuff. It's just like you need people that are smart, understand it, like do like this kind of thing. But it's not like you don't need like the Alad Tassar type dudes, like I mean, Alad's another animal, but like, what I'm saying? Like maybe that was going too far, but just like really, really, really experienced AI engineers to build all that stuff in the way. You need a couple of them, but you don't need a whole sea of them. And those guys are hard to find and they're not cheap. But I think that when we're talking AI engineers, like you just need a bunch of dudes that can do a lot of the heavy lifting. And that's because the models that exist today make it easier in that way. That's going to be a thing. It's like Salesforce developers were a number of years ago. They were so sought after because everybody was moving to Salesforce and doing all this. I mean, I might be like just saying that because that was my world, but I mean, that's how I saw it. Right. And now that like everybody's certified, you can find Salesforce, people everywhere now. There's tons of them. And so I think AI is going to become the same. Like everybody's going to have that on their resume. But I guess my point is, once again, it's like, I think that it's fine. You're fine with those, but you need a couple of the whizzes, if you will, to make sure you're making the right architectural decisions and things like that. And like, actually like what you're truly doing. but like there's just a lot of heavy lift, grunt work, if you will, around that stuff. And I'm saying that speaking from firsthand because we're hiring a ton of these people right now. So anyways, but yeah, so I could see that. I could see that to answer the question, the redundant kind of tasks and things being automated via AI in that way so that your people can focus on the things that are more complicated. I don't know. But that doesn't mean like, I always think like, I don't know why, just like, it's like this like nervous reaction I have around this stuff where it's like, I always feel like I need to just like tell people it doesn't mean that your job's going to go away.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't even know why I say that. Like people like know that these days, but I feel like, I don't know, maybe all the years like selling into agencies and things and selling automation. And like I had CSRs like literally like not like the system or not like things because they feared job security 100%. So that's probably where that comes from. I don't know. So sorry, I was going off a tangent there, but like,
no, I mean, I kind of came from the same thing. We were selling portals, right? And they're like, no, totally. if you give them a self-service portal to get their certificate, then they have no reason to call me.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. See, same thing, right? You're like, no, but you can like, no, they don't understand it,
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of that noise still around AI and whatnot.
Yeah.
But as we were talking about, as people have kind of gone out there, they've tested it, they're getting more comfortable with it. All right, what's the use case here? Oh, hey, like we streamline underwriting, that makes a ton of sense. We can help with claims, it makes a ton of sense. Like some of this stuff, and then the end users, the humans, they're not bombarded with a bunch of redundant things day in and day out, day in and day out. Automation leveraging AI will help with a lot of that. So. Yeah. Anyways.
All right. So we have gone through the Datos top 10 trends for 25. So we talked about AI and automation around E&S and claims and underwriting and a bunch of other and SaaS. And I think there was a couple other bingo card terms on there. Is there anything you were talking about, like things that you've heard, things that you've had, with conversations with your peers that you didn't hear kind of addressed there that you think is going to be stuff that is happening this year or hell, even into the next year?
That would have been like a good, if I actually did do my homework. I'm just a bad student. Ponder. I think we covered a lot of it. If somebody were just to ask me that, what I'd say off the cuff is a lot of what we talked about here.
Yeah.
This year, we're going to see AI truly impact our industry. I really believe that. We're already seeing it. There's already products out there. People are using it. They're going to start to really leverage this stuff. I see the most value around underwriting. That's just through my lens. I'm sure there's tons of value in other way, all kinds of stuff, but I see it on that flow. It's a very cumbersome, not very efficient. Like there's a lot of room for improvement there. So I see that. I don't know. We talked about like, it's kind of funny, like small carriers moving to a more modern stack and all of that. Like that would not be the first thing that I would ever say. But I maybe, sure. I don't know. I think we covered a lot around it.
Yeah.
Anything else that I see that wasn't mentioned? I'll say this. I said it before. Sure as hell aren't seeing a lot of startups out there. I haven't seen anything like new, cool, exciting, in a while. And I talked to friends. I got lunch with one of my buddies the other day who's like super in that world and on all the boards and blah, 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 and not a lot of like really exciting stuff out there. It's really exciting. I don't know. I just haven't seen like, it's a lot of the same things once again. So sorry, I'm going off tangent there. So to answer your question, not really. I think we covered a lot of it. It's a lot of this AI-ish stuff. It is, I hate saying it like blah, 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 but it's kind of like what blockchain was a number of years ago, right? But it's real. It's not blockchain. There's real value here for us in this industry. Not to say that there's not value in blockchain. I get it, but in our case. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a fun year though. I feel like the market's turning around. I feel like, things are happening. Like people have been building a lot over the last few years, and we've gone through a lot with COVID and all this just chaos, right?
Mm-hmm.
The election, like it's just like what is happening, all these natural disasters and just stuff's like weird, right?
Yeah.
It has been. But I feel like we've come past that. And this is going to be a real like big, I want to say build, but not necessarily build, because I feel like people have been building stuff, but we're going to see things come to life this year in ways. And so, yeah, I don't know. For me, that's in that. But what do you think? Was there anything we missed?
I don't think so. I think as I was going through the list, I think one of the reasons I picked it was because it was a lot of things that we had been hearing and talking about with customers internally. But I do think, AI has gone from, I don't know where I got this from, so I apologize wherever I pulled this from. We've gone past the AI as like people researching it and wanting to be aware of it. And now it's operationalizing it, right? Okay, like I know what it is. Now it's like, how do I use it inside my organization?
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of things come to life. Like we keep talking about all of these use cases. Now it's like, let's see how it actually works.
That's the best way to put that. That's exactly like things are going to start to come to life, this year.
I love it. All right. Well, thanks for your time. And hopefully we will be getting some new guests on soon. And I think we're good.